Hey folks, we're in Ephasus, which was an ancient Roman town, originally ruled by people who praised Artemis. I'm going to be a little quick because I'm chasing after my guide who is running ahead of us here, but I just thought you'd really want to see this. This here is early Christian graffiti. Christianity was outlawed, Romans were still feeding Christians to lions and gladiators and things like this, and this is early Christian graffiti. This symbol means Jesus Christ, Father, God, Lord, or something like that. It's all kind of hidden in this symbolism of those different letters that means those different things. So I thought you'd get a big kick out of seeing this early Christian graffiti, which is just super cool. This is a very early secret symbol, somewhere around 40-50 AD. Super. This, ladies and gentlemen, was their Parliament building. Behind us you hear my guide talking. I'm being rude and talking over him. But this is where they would decide all the great issues of the day. Just like the United States Congress and representatives and all that good stuff. Maybe not quite as crazy, but probably. See, here we are on a road called Caretz Road. Caretz apparently was a famous family of Ephasus who was priests and rulers and that sort of a thing, and this was kind of their road. But this road that we're walking on is the same road that was walked on by people some 1900 years ago. Originally by folks who worshipped Artemis, and then later by folks who worshipped Christ. Amazing, huh? These are Roman houses. And even though they look kind of small and dinky, apparently these houses had 15 rooms, servants, kitchens, atriums, and the whole 9 yards. If you check out the sidewalk, that's the sidewalk. A little different than the sidewalks of today, huh? This here is a temple to Adriano. They call it a temple, even though it's wasn't really used for religious purposes, but it was Adriano apparently was one of the many Caesars, if you will, rulers of Rome, and this was built in his honor. This head way up here at the top, I can find my magic finger, way up here at the top, where'd it go? There you are, is actually a Medusa figure. And I'm not too sure who this guy is, but it looks like an early Starbucks figure, but I'm sure that's not what that was meant to be. That was a Medusa's figure up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am in the public washroom of Rome some 1900 or so years ago. Pretty unbelievable, huh? We're assuming that this is the men's washroom, but honestly nobody really knows. You can tell underneath here there's a big ditch. Water constantly flew down the ditch and served as sanitation, if you will. This ditch, we've been told, clean water flowed, so that after they were done doing whatever they needed to do, they could use this and perhaps a little sea sponge and clean themselves off. A modern toilet, 1900 years ago. This, if you'll notice, we've got crosses on this guy here, which means that this was probably built after Constantine and after Christianity was legalized. Apparently this was a fountain, it's thought. Again, some, 1700 years ago. This is one of the libraries of Ephasus that I talked to you about earlier. But now we're a little bit closer, you can see it a little bit better. The sun's going down a little bit, so we're getting darker. But we got 4 statues in this thing. And the statues I forget now, but it's like wisdom and knowledge and learning and something else. I forgot what the guy told me. And you can see up here there used to be statues up here as well. And apparently there used to be scrolls and scrolls and scrolls on the inside, which you can kind of see here, of all the great writings of the day. This over here, we just learned, is a gate that, believe it or not, was purchased by slaves. They bought and built, they paid for the building of this gate. These slaves apparently won their freedom in the gladiator fights, went on to be businessmen, and rich businessmen at that, and built these gates in you know, to reward the city, to say thank you for their time. You can't really see it, but up here we've got these words up here, and the names Maximo and something else, Magritas, were the names of the slaves who gave this gate to the city, which is pretty cool. Here's a little bit more graffiti, but you'll notice this is actually Jewish graffiti. Notice the menorah? Pretty cool. So here, ladies and gentlemen, is the theater in Ephasus, I should say, pronouncing it relatively correctly. Absolutely huge. It's thought that some 30,000 people could fit here in one grand event. This down here is perhaps where the gladiatorial fights and other kinds of things took place. This is perhaps where the two slaves that I told you about earlier perhaps have won their freedom. It was down in this area here. And up here was more of the stage. It's pretty much still being renovated. You can't really see it. But this would be where the stage was, where the theater was, where the comedies and dramas would take place, would be here. Tragedies and comedies. It's amazing. Something else we just learned from the guidebook here is that they used to have public meetings where all Ephesians would come and be told this, that, or the other thing, you know, like your school assemblies back in high school. But apparently, somewhere on this spot here, St. Paul once stood and told whatever he told to masses of Ephesians. It's pretty cool, huh? By the way, those of you familiar with the Bible, the letters to the Ephesians, this is who we're talking about. This is the Church of Mary. Apparently the Third Ecumenical Council was held here, and supposedly Mary, the mother of Jesus, actually lived in this area, as did St. John. In fact, yesterday, I didn't bring the camera, so I apologize for this, but yesterday we visited the Basilica of St. John, which is a huge church located at the top of a hill not too far away from here. And apparently, Mary was in the care of St. John, who helped her move from a variety of places, and eventually they apparently ended up here, and supposedly St. John actually wrote his gospel on a mountaintop, again, not too far away from here at all. This angle may give you a better view. Oops, I'm trying to hide this line from you. This angle might give you a little bit of a better view just how deep and long this church is. It is actually quite huge. St. John's Basilica was also huge. And in fact, they said it would have been bigger, but they kind of ran out of land on this hilltop.